Hello everyone. I will try to move in the middle and come back here and to change the slide, so I'll try to do that. So, yes, a bit about EPAM. Can you hear me well? No? Okay, I'll go with it. So EPAM, perhaps you haven't heard of EPAM. It used to be, well, it is a very engineer-based company, founded in 1993 in the US, and had a lot of engineers over in Ukraine and Minsk. Anyway, so they acquired Empathy Lab and then Great Fridays. So actually, I'm in the part that used to be Great Fridays. So they're actually bringing in design thinking into the engineer. So we're trying to do the whole from business design and strategy, UX solution, service design, and also implement it and do the engineer part. So EPAM trying to do all this in one. So EPAM is a bit different that they, when, for example, Fjord and Accenture went into one, Fjord kept the name, but Great Fridays is now EPAM, so that is why. So it's one name, so we should have that. So I'm part of the group they call design group. So we're trying to work closely with our clients, so our clients are different kind of projects, and we're trying to bring in this design thinking, how to help them to change their business. And it could be anything from more strategy down to create new novel services and user experiences. So very short intro about that. So now we're going back to actually how design thinking can drive innovation. So setting the scene. So no more business as usual. You've probably heard these ones over and over again. These are disruptors in our market. But it's really interesting that they have been so very successful understanding the user needs and also pushed out some of their competitors. And so, for example, Slack had more than 1 million users just after 2 years, and B&B and Uber, they don't really own any states and they don't own any taxis. But there have been other company who hasn't done so very well. So, for example, where are they now? Kodak and Blockbusters are both bankrupt, and Nokia lost almost 50% of the market share in 7 years. So Kodak is really interesting because they have an engineer in 1975, Steve Sasson, who actually invented the first still digital camera. So why are they out of the market? They were first inventing it. Because they didn't believe it was good for their business model. The business model was to sell films to the cameras. So that's why Blockbusters, they didn't have any technology problem. They just didn't anticipate how users will consume video content online. And Nokia didn't really anticipated how big smartphone and software and application would be in the future. So how can we avoid this? So business innovation is less about efficiency, so it's really understanding the user needs. That is how we can drive change. So looking at the users and what they need and what they require. So why is this happening now? So this is the massive trend towards service and subscription economy. So for example, there are a lot of companies like, for example, IBM that produce a lot of products, but they still consider themselves to be a service business because the product is just one part of the solution and the services around this is as important as the product. And the pace of innovation, more and more products, more and more websites and more services and products are becoming more and more similar. So how can we make it more challenging or competitive? So for example, Amazon is selling the same product as many other websites, but they offer another service on top of that. They offer very good feedback if there are any problem, very good delivery. So that's how they are competing with the competitors very well. The increase in customer experience and the expectation is also very big. So a customer today, they know the value they're pushing because if they have a very good experience in one service, in one product, they want that experience in the new service and product they use. So they're pushing that into the new service and products they use, so they expect it to be very good. The last one is the growth of digital and the growth of digital innovation. This is also one big part of this, why it's happening now. So for example, Twitter, for example, if you, for example, have Twitter feedback to a company, you probably expect them to reply within 1 hour. if it's an email, perhaps 24 hours. This is really pushing the business and the different companies to have a more excellent service offering. So then how can design thinking then help this kind of transformation? So again, this is really to put the user at the center of our universe. And we want to envision a service future and not just a product one. So it's really important to work in multidisciplinary team. We can't just work in silo. So if you're on a design team, you're probably very used to work with user insights and data, but you need to look into the technology platform. What constraints, what possibility does it have? How open is this for change? Do they need to change the platform? And also look into the business. So for example, Kodak, they had problem with the business model. They had everything else. So we need to understand also and involve the business and the people working with that. So this is how we can drive new service design. And also, so this is also about creating the vision. This is what we want to drive, and this is how we can drive innovation, is to define the vision and how to get there. So this is the first part, when you need to identify how to remain competitive. The next one, how to create leadership, and finally, to be disruptive in the market. So this one here is where Kodak and Blockbuster didn't do very well. They didn't really understand how to even remain in the market, so they went bankrupt. Uber and Airbnb is coming up there as a disruptor. But in time, they need to really start rethink the strategy, to rethink the service and products, because there will be other newcomers coming to the market that challenge them. So this is really moving in time. The expectation will grow bigger from customer to have the same kind of experience for new services and old. So how can we do this in practice? How do we get there? How do we create this kind of vision? So first step is to create this kind of understanding and define the challenge. So this is really important, whatever project you go into, to understand the challenge. So it could be like, for example, a client comes to you, or you have this, oh, I want to improve the search of the website. Then you can redefine it and think a bit bigger. So how do we create a new search experience? Or perhaps there is a new problem area, but think about what the challenge is and try to redefine it if necessary to make it slightly bigger, to think a bit outside the box. After that, we really need to understand the users and understand their needs, their requirements, what they want to have, what kind of hurdles, pain points do they have, to be able to identify opportunities and also to create solutions. So how do we get to know our users? Well, there are different methodologies. I'm just going to mention a few here. So one way of getting to know a user is to do this more qualitative research, when you do these in-depth interviews. And going back to framing your challenge is, you need to know who you're going to interview in what you want to do. So, for example, you can't just interview any of your users. You need to define your user groups, who are the key users, and also make sure you have different kind of age, different kind of experience, because you probably have defined the key users, but also secondary and third. And you can also consider interviewing extreme users as well, because they might bring some new things to the table to inspire you as well, to push the boundaries. Other way of getting to know your user even more is observation. So here is an example for BT, when you follow someone who actually delivered the service out to the customer. So this is very specific. But it can also be observation, where you're observing the people in their own context, in the home, where it's relevant for them. So this is to understand behavior that is not spoken, because sometimes you take things for granted. You can't put all things you do into words. So this is really a good method of understanding the user in their natural habitat and context. Another important group is experts, and especially stakeholders, if you work with more clients as we do at EPAM. So we interview a lot of stakeholders. It is to really, they are the experts. They are the experts in the technology using, they're experts in processes, and also the organization, because you really need to understand this to be able to frame it. So otherwise you can come up with this really fantastic idea and it doesn't fit in at all. So it's really, really important to understand the constraints of your business, constraints of your area you look into. And even if you have more blue sky thinking, it's really important to understand the constraints of the area and domain you're thinking of delivering that kind of service and product. Also important to do a lot of collaboration workshops with your stakeholders or with the participants. This is a really good way of really iterate and gain insight very quickly. You can test your ideas, you can iterate them very quickly, and also they feel it's like participate, and especially important when working with clients, so they feel like they are along with the process with you, so they're not shocked when you're showing the final products because like, oh, this is not what we thought. So this is a kind of good sense check. It's also good to do with participants as well to see if your early ideas are good or not good at all and how to rework them. You've probably seen this a lot, personas, but this is, again, it's just when you have all that kind of research inside, you can turn into these fictional people to understand their needs and requirements. And this is also good to use as an internal tool when you work with engineers, product managers, and for example for the client as well, so they understand who you're talking to, who you're addressing to when you design, and even for designers internally, so we do understand who we're actually designing for, so we're not designing for ourselves, which happens quite often actually, unfortunately. Sometimes personas is a bit, how do you say, stale, so sometimes we work with mindset. So to introduce mindset is, for example, if you look at a business traveler who wants to travel away for work for 2-3 days, they have special needs and requirements. But that person can be a leisure traveler in the weekend, traveling away with his or her partner, or be a family when they go away for leisure travel, or even going away with some friends for a stag or hen do, or just friend shopping. So this is showing like the mindset can cover different needs and requirements for different contexts. So they might be one and the same person, but they have different mindsets, so they want different things. So we work with mindset for more complex services, especially sometimes when it's political within an organization to have a persona, because they don't feel like the persona represents one segment of the business. So that's why sometimes mindset is a bit more neutral. They don't look at, no, we don't have that work, or we don't have that engineer, they don't work for us in our department. So it's to avoid this kind of, when they look into the wrong detail, it's really the mindset of what needs and requirements do they have and what do they look for in a certain context. Then user journey. So user journey is really, really important to capture the pain points and also capture where the hurdles are, but also to capture where the gaps are. So going back to that example about improving the web search on a website is, so you can expand it. So this example here is actually from a website selling flights, online flight tickets. So they actually want to improve their search on their website. But instead of just looking at the journey when they come to the website, we started much early on. We started from the very beginning of the travel journey. When do they start thinking of travel? What is important to them? What kind of inspiration? How do they discover about travel? What emotion do they have? And then trying to see how that maps out. So actually when they come to the website, it's probably down here, it's beyond the screen actually. So this is to understand what context they're coming from when they go to the website, and also understand if you can expand the experience. So instead of coming to the website and thinking, oh, I'm going to buy my flight tickets to Paris or to Berlin, I actually can come to the website to perhaps be inspired to do discovery. So this is how you can expand your journey to have more offering. You can also look at the pain points of an existing offering to do usability, to improve an existing one as well. And what you can also do is you can add competitors to see where they actually are on this user journey and identify gaps on this user journey. So what are the competitors doing in this business, and where can you actually expand your ideas? So when you have identified the gaps, You have identified the pain point to do quick wins. So how do then you come up with the big opportunities? So this is what probably many people jump over. They find the pain points, and then they jump into the solutions. And all that good research you had about the users is gone. So again, go back to user data. Don't jump into your solutions too quickly. Designers love to jump into to design solution already after interviews with the users and participants. So it's going one step back, actually. You look at the user research you had. You also look at other trends, behavioral trends, what's happening out there in the market, what other apps is doing, other domain areas of inspiration. You also look at technology. What kind of trends are out there? What can you actually improve in your technology offering? And also look into different business model. And again, it has to be a business model that is working for the organization and the company you work with. So you can't perhaps say, oh, we're going to now transform your company to be totally different. Because you have to be aware of how willing the company is open for change as well. So, but it's going back to these opportunities. It's really, really important to do this session and the different technique how to do them. But I really, really, really recommend you to do this, because this is where you define opportunity. It's this kind of mix of different kind of insights they form. And some opportunity can be very high level, some of them can be more tangible, but it's really good exercise. And you can do them as a bigger one, you can redefine them, you can merge them into smaller ones. When you have your opportunities, you need to understand the value of them. So how impactful are they for the business? How good are they for the users? How hard are they to implement? And when should we do them? So this is an example we did for one client where we mapped out all the opportunities. We put them in acts on time, when they should do them. We also put in the impact, so the one higher up was more important. The one to the left we need to do now. We also did them in different colors just to show there are different themes. And we also show that one opportunity here can grow to another opportunity. So this is how something evolves and also shoots off. So this is showing like the relationships between each other as well. So this is a good way to also validate, and the different kind of validation exercise. And so, yeah, anyway, so this is a good way of going forward. And when you've done the opportunity, then you look into going back one step again and start looking to the vision. So this is where we want to go. And this is where we're defining to remain competitive in the market into the down left here, and also to be more leader in the market. And here up here is where you become disruptive. So this is where we want to take on the journey. And the important thing also to understand what steps do you need to do to reach this vision. And this is where you can be truly innovative to go there. So when you have defined these opportunities, perhaps you then want to create some of them and make them more tangible. And this is, I'll just quickly go through that because running out of time. So this is when you create user journey, the interactions. You perhaps do lo-fi prototyping, you do wireframing, and then you do prototyping where you test this with the users. So this is where you can do a tangible outcome of it and test with users and put forward to either a client or try it directly in the market. So finally, is mapping the service of the future. So this is where we normally do. We're trying to understand what the steps are and where we interact with users. We're also trying to understand different channels and also the infrastructure, what is required for you to actually do this, what kind of people are involved, what technology are involved. So just do a quick summary here. So it's important to ensure your vision is clearly defined and articulate. So again, where do we want to go and how do we go there? What steps do you need to take to get there? So that's really important. You can't just go to vision directly. You need to take some fundamental steps to go there. Recognize the diversity of your customer base. So this is really important, understanding the user, who you're designing it for. Do user research, use it wisely, and come back and create opportunity. Don't jump into solution too quickly, even if it is very easy to do. And then understand the business goals, scope, and the context to operate in. So again, we don't design in silo, we design in the context of business or in the market they're going into, and also understand what they're feeling for changes within that company and what steps are needing to get there as well. And then put your users first, so deliver a service and not just product. So you can have a fantastic product, it can have a really good user experience, but there are a lot of products perhaps that are similar to your product. So this is where you can add a service to it to have an added user value for it. So this is where you can excel, and this is how you can make it different to other similar products out there. And then finally, to understand the capabilities of your platform and what is required. So this is coming back again to the technology to make it realistic and also make sure you can implement that so you can create that great service or innovation you have. Thank you.